Oh, just a second. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh, hello, Schmookums. It's so nice of you to come visit.
Hey, Grandma, nice to see you.
Oh, yes, come in.
All right. Wait, hey, Grandma, what's all this?
What are you talking?
What is all this laying around?
It's nothing.
Those
just
are
mementos.
No, Grandma, those are unanswered Daily Solutions podcast questions. You can't just leave those piling up.
Well, I've been keeping them. I've been holding on to them.
Grandma, people need their answers immediately. It's not like you can just answer whenever you feel like it.
Well, no, they're nice in here, and I don't want to give them up.
Some of these questions are months old. People's problems just need to be fixed right away, Grandma.
Let me make you some tea. Would you like some tea?
Only if you answer this question first.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, everybody. This is Ashkan.
This is Derek.
Yeah, slightly different crew here today.
Yep.
Exciting, keeping it fresh. That was my nickname in high school.
Keeping it or fresh?
Keeping it fresh.
Oh.
Keeping it, fresh.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Dangerous.
Mr.
Your middle
Fresh
name.
was the formal version. Okay. We got a question.
Please.
And I'm reading them now, so get used to that. Here we go. Our question is, I'm struggling with signing up members, but I always feel so salesy bringing it up. Help? That's good.
Yeah.
I like when people are in desperate need of help and come to us.
Yeah, hopefully we're not answering this months later, so.
Yeah, it was just shut down.
Yeah.
Didn't have enough members.
Yep. Hey, at least they weren't salesy.
Yeah, I mean, I hear ya. This is a common thing, I think, for so many people.
It's every business. Like, some people want to make the widget, but they don't want to sell it.
Well, it's every business, but I think it's like also especially every float business.
Right.
Because I think there's just something about, there's something that's kind of like sacred about the post-float, that time when you're after coming out of the float tank. You know, that's part of the experience. The experience isn't just being in the float tank. It's how you feel afterwards. And like, you don't want to intrude on that part of someone's experience and why they're coming in by being like, hey, did you know that like if you're 2 for 1 this month, you could get this thing, and like just feeling like a used car salesman.
Yeah, and there's some centers that wait until after the float to take payment so they can pitch that membership.
Yeah, and this isn't just a difficult thing for float center owners too. I mean, everybody you have working in your shop.
Oh yeah.
I
think that's even more difficult. As a float center owner, you financially feel the struggle when you don't have enough members, but your employees are like, whatever.
Yeah, and I think your employees feel the same thing, right? Like the best part of the job is like talking to people afterwards and getting to be this kind of person who's ushering their float experience and all of this, and you don't want to have to. Same thing, like feel like you're stepping on that or making things kind of weird when you're trying to sell them on something. So
I have a quick answer to this.
Okay,
and
great.
To me, it's
we'll
not a market. Yeah, let's get this under 5 minutes. Ready?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not a marketing problem. It's not a business problem. It's a mindset problem, right? Like, so when we sell something to someone, we've had bad experiences in the past buying cars, being pressured into something, or our trade-ins were ripped off and we got undervalued on that. And we've always had a bad experience being sold to. But in a float center, you're not selling anybody something, especially if they're coming in and they're paying full price. They're going to save money becoming a member. So you're actually saving them.
Yeah.
You're not selling them anything they don't want. They're already there.
I mean, it is. Yeah. I feel like the truth I hear in that is very much from the experience of actually bringing it up with people, where like I definitely went in with the mindset, this was a struggle for me too. Like I really don't like the idea of being salesy. And I went in when we were first opening very much with that mindset of like, hey, this is a weird thing to bring up. Like I don't want to like mention it too much. And as I got more comfortable with it and did start bringing it up and finding kind of, much more natural ways of bringing it up, the response was very much like what you were saying. Like people were thankful.
Right. When
I'd be like, hey, just so you know, like, it would often be something organic, like, oh man, like that was great. I definitely want to do that. Or some people would even say things like, man, I could see myself doing this like every week or something like that. There were just these like natural lead-ins, and you could just say things like, oh, like if you really do want to float all the time, our memberships definitely are like the cheapest way to do that. And people would be like, oh, thanks, and like want more information about them or want to take something with them to have that information. Like I was surprised at how genuinely interested and thankful people were that I was sharing that sort of information with them.
Right. And you can even take it a step further. So when somebody comes in and pays full price, you can just, at that time when they say, hey, it was great, I can't imagine, I would love to do this more often. And you can say, well, I can take what you paid today and apply it towards a membership. So not only we'll start that today, but we'll roll over the excess into your next float. So like in our example, you pay $77 or it's $54 for membership. We'll start your membership today and take that extra $23 into your next float. Yeah,
that is definitely another thing we do, I think, specifically to kind of deal with this like feeling of salesiness. Is it's just easier to be salesy at times that are not right after someone got out of a float tank, right? So we just try to like lean in a little bit more into those times. So we will mention things like before people go in, or it's in our emails. You know, we'll have little membership things and like appointment reminders and emails they're getting before they're coming in for
PS
floats.
Sections that say, hey, if you enjoy your float today, you can save more.
It's more just kind of like, you know, we have obviously membership signs, and they're like the biggest signs behind our desks, and our pricing on our website very prominently mentions memberships. And we also have like a guide that's just called Tips for Your Future Floats.
Right.
And we put these out on our coffee table, and 90% of this thing is just like nice, useful information for people. Like, hey, it might be nice to like bring a fresh pair of socks with you next time, because it's really nice to get into comfy, clean clothes after your float. Or, you know, if you notice any salt in your ears afterwards, like here's some tips for dealing with that. Or it's just mostly that. And then on the back of this thing that we're hoping people take with them is our membership pricing, and that way it's you know, it is very much information that is like actively useful for people and something that is worthwhile for them to take with them. And it's also a place for them to realize we have these memberships, and if they are floating regularly, that this is going to be something that makes it more affordable and works out better for them.
Right. And, you know, the subtle approaches, like you mentioned, the little PS blurb in the emails that talks about memberships, or even the ongoing guide to floating that, you know, after you've floated guide that we have on the tables. Those are subtle ways you can do it. And so really it only leaves you with one more outward point of sales, is like that when you're checking them out for that float, whether it's either before they float or after their float, you're really only giving them one salesy interaction, quote unquote. And so I think if you were to do that and then spin it into a way that's actually providing them value, saving them money, you know, you don't have to turn it into a 16-point spiel about all the different perks and benefits.
Let me just get my PowerPoints up. 1 second.
Right. So, you know, you don't, you have one right now? You seem kind of serious. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you avoid all of that, if you go, well, if you're a member, you also get 10% off of this and 20% of this, and you start stacking it, you could save that if you need to, if you really need a little bit of extra information that would maybe tip them into your favor. But for the most part, they're just happy saving money on floats because that's what they were there for anyways.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just like anything, it's something that improves with practice, right? I mean, it's one of those things that like it may be a little weird the first couple times you do it, as you like learn what feels natural for you to say and what leads to people having natural reactions. And you know, if you're too scared to do it those first couple times, like it's just not, you're never going to get there. But if you kind of push through, or, you know, we'll even sometimes in our kind of group meetings or our monthly meetings with our shop staff, just do some practice rounds with people. And it's always like silly and absurd and a little uncomfortable, but like it gets that kind of uncomfortableness out of the way and makes it a little easier to bridge that gap to do with customers. And once you do a couple times and it starts to get more natural, like, again, you'll find ways of presenting it where you're not overtly trying to, like, you know, use this rote sales language on them that you said 1,000 times. And you'll find ways to make it sound like you're just talking to them.
It's casual conversation. Like you even don't want it so well rehearsed, because then it does just seem like this spiel that becomes white noise to them, because it's becoming white noise out of your mouth. You know, one of the fun things I find when we get into, you know, empowering the sales associates, AKA, you know, the staff of the float center, you know, it's kind of fun to watch them comment in the logbook to their peers and go, hey, you know, I sold 2 memberships today and I tweaked what I was saying with this little added verbiage. And then it might spark the creativity of somebody else to go, you know, I could probably sell a membership like that, or maybe I would say this. And then they go try it and they're inspired by that logbook post and they sell a membership. So, I mean, you know, you can set the foundation of like quick, easy ways to get people interested in a membership and let your employees run wild.
And like, you know, people have the best float experiences when they're floating regularly. So it's not like we're trying to dupe people into something
Right.
that is like just for our benefit. Like, I mean, it's good for your float center and it's good to create stable, repetitive income.
It's good for your floaters.
But it's good for them too. Like, people will get the best float experiences if they are building it into their lifestyle. And so, I don't know, that makes me feel nice about it too. I don't feel like I'm trying to like pull the wool over anyone's eyes or anything like that,
Right.
So it's just that. It's just realizing this stuff is a spectrum, and like used car salesman is one end of it, and there's a lot of like gray area between that and not saying anything, where you can bring this stuff up and put it more top of mind, and you'd be surprised. You'll probably get a lot more positive feedback than you think you will in your head right now.
And like, kind of wrap things up, you have to do it every time. Well, it's just like a law of numbers, right? If you just decide maybe 1 out of every 10 customers you're going to try to sell a membership to, you're decreasing your opportunities by like the other 9 people possibly not getting pitched a membership. So you need to make sure every single time, these people, if they're floating more than once a month anyways, they're going to need that membership. They're going to need to save money. And if they're not, they're only going to hear that quote unquote spiel once every 3, 6, 12 months whenever they decide to come back. So it's not like you're overselling them. So you really only have to present the opportunity to float once. And once they're a member, you have to stop. You can just stop selling them. So I mean, it's only one opportunity you get.
Yeah, we do also at Float On, we keep notes on people's accounts too, because sometimes someone is floating on a semi-regular basis, but just doesn't want a membership, and like it is kind of annoying to keep asking them every single time. So we'll track both people that seem like they potentially would be good candidates for memberships. That's something we'll take notes on.
Right.
So like our staff will look and be like, hey, this is the 4th time this person's floated. They've all been in like the last 3 months, and they'll put a note on their account, and the next time they come in, the next person on staff will be like, hey, you've been floating a bunch. Like, have you looked at our memberships? It's definitely like the cheapest way to get in.
Or like the manager will create a watch on their account. So when they book again, they'll get notified, and that manager might leave a note.
So we'll do that for the positive when people seem like good candidates, and then we'll also leave notes if that person says no and maybe says why or whatever, so we don't keep bugging that same person who we are seeing on a more frequent basis for memberships. So there's that amount of customization, and you can really like take a little time and track things in your system and make it a little bit more personalized experience for people too.
And bugging them, quote unquote, we're not really bugging them. So
we're not bugging them, but it would be like if you've said no to the membership and given a reason, and you keep getting asked every single time you come in, I can see that eventually getting frustrating.
So yeah, I mean, again, to recap, it's just a mindset shift on not only your part as a float center owner, but getting your employees involved too.
Yeah, and practice. Practice is the only way that it's going to start to feel more comfortable, and that you'll get better at it. Once
you start seeing those memberships roll in and a stabilized income, you'll get extra comfortable real quick.
Boom. Next thing you know, you're in a hammock, sitting on an island, just not even working.
Or, something like that.
Yeah, your float center is just, the walls are built out of gold bars, like...
Gold? Does that hold up the salt?
I think it doesn't rust, so it should be good.
Sweet.
All right. If you guys have other questions, you can go to floattanksolutions.com/podcast, and we'll be here, and we're going to answer them.
And we're awaiting your golden center pictures.
That's right. Yeah. Please send photos along if anybody out there makes gold walls.
All right, please.
Okay. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.